Hey guys, today we'll be taking a look at a web-based painting app. It's made by Vaughn Ling called HeavyPaint 4. Most of my paintings are done the classical HeavyPaint 2. I did dabble in HeavyPaint 3 as well. Again, it's web-based, but this one seems a bit more playful because if I'm not mistaken, it started off being HeavyPaint Play or something along those lines. It seems like a great tool, and I feel like we should go through with how each brush works, how robust the tool is, and let's paint something out of it. Let me be clear, I've used this program prior to this video, but I haven't painted with the newest version, so I guess we'll catch up together. Photoshop killer. I don't want to throw out these grand claims saying that it's better than Photoshop or it's better than Procreate. I still feel tools are here to serve us, the artists, while we explore different ways to communicate. We don't need to be married to these tools, but it's always fun to find one that's familiar, that feels comfortable. You can revisit it over and over again, and there's still the sense of familiarity. I think that's what every artist is looking for, and that be a particular brush in a particular toolkit. I've seen some crazy art done in Blender with grease pencil. Like, you would be like, why wouldn't you do that in Photoshop, or why wouldn't you do that in so and so? So what? You know, like, at the end of the day, it's just trying to communicate the idea. It's not to get too hyper focused into which one's better or worse, but it's always fun to explore new options, and especially if it's free. As we go through the website and look at all its features, it's just so impressive that something like this is available for free. You can literally type www.heavypaint.com/hp4 and boom, you're in there and you're ready to paint. If you go to the basic HeavyPaint website, oh, look at that, 4 options. This one's the HeavyPaint on the web. Again, it's still web-based. We'll touch on that later. Page 2 is the classic one that I love and use to this day. Page 3 for Android, HB3 for iOS, HB4, which is still in beta. That's what we're looking at today. Let me touch on HeavyPaint 3. Now, HeavyPaint 3 is such a robust tool. As you can see, I made this quick little painting. It's surprising that this works on the web and it runs so smooth. I'm not too welcoming of like slowish, sluggish painting softwares. Put the information in there and I want that instant. It's just beautiful that this works so great, you know, on a web page. Fascinating stuff. Again, very simple and organized UI. You have most of your stuff right here. The interesting part about HeavyPaint is you can replay most of all your work. That's always fun, to play back what you made. And if you look at this piece, like all these design decisions that you make in your brain and somehow subconsciously, and when you see it sort of manifested in the final piece, and when you have these tools of like playing it back each stroke by stroke, that's just so, like, imagine we live in times where I can look at my painting and I can even see how it was made. That's just remarkable. I feel like we're just so blessed. We just take so much for granted, and this is just so amazing. So yeah, when you open up HeavyPaint 4, it sort of greets you with this grayed out UI with this text brush, and which says HeavyPaint. Let's go through each setting or option and let's see what's available. Export image, import image, set UI color. Oh, so I guess, okay, there we go. Maybe a bit less too purple. Anyway, we have RGB. Not a huge fan of RGB in terms of picking colors. I kind of like the HVC bar. Well, we changed the UI color now. Maybe a little bit more darker. I like it. Maybe a little bit more darker. Perfect. So these are the color options. Indicates the size of the tool. Undo, I guess that's Control Z. Space for picking colors up. Zoom to zoom in and out. Scroll, sorry. Oh, you can also hold the right mouse button and drag the screen, and middle mouse button to sort of pan the whole image. I tend to work small in terms of frame. I don't really like to zoom in as much, unless like detailing and stuff, whatever. Okay, we have clear canvas, autosave, like export preferences, factory reset. Those are the settings, or like the options or whatever. And then we can go to the tools. The first tool being, the airbrush tool. I like the grain. The brush tool, it has a smudge quality to it, which I kind of like. It's super faint or subtle, but it does smudge it ever so slightly, but that's just maybe that's the brush itself. Brush puff, similar, but it's much more opaque. It feels a bit more thick. A fan, classic. It's almost where it says a lasso tool. A personal YouTube I don't know their name, but the way they do line art with their finger and they just go in and just make line art. Oh, this doesn't cut in, but oh, maybe the lasso. The way they do, oh no, this doesn't cut in as well. But the way they do it, it's like they go back and that's how they make their line art, which was so fascinating. And grainy, fibrous, similar to the airbrush, but I feel like I like this more than the airbrush. Grid, it's always interesting to look at new tools and explore new tools and to be like, wow, I never thought a tool could exist and how to incorporate it in my work. Head cheese, okay. I've used this brush before. This was still available in their early version, and I love this one. You can make mountains out of it, landscapes, trees, foliage. I really, really love this one. Ink drop. Interesting. It's just like an ink smudge sort of an effect. Lasso fiber. Yes, another favorite. It has this weird hairy texture. Line, quite rudimentary. This could be amazing for environments, buildings, anything mechanical or inorganic. Line mix. This was like an OG tool. Like people who use HeavyPaint, first version of HeavyPaint, they know this tool. I don't know if I have it, but if I do, I'll put up a painting I did, like one of my first HeavyPaint paintings. That was the only way you could blend the oil brush. I think this one does smudge. Yeah, it does pick the color from underneath and it smudges a tad bit, ever so slightly, but it does smudge. Old Filthy. Wake up filthy. Yeah, another instant favorite. I like how, again, textured. This is what I'm looking for. Oval. This is like a classic round brush fanatic as well. They do love that hue variation thing going on for them. I love to do that JC line digger thing, where it's those three distinct marks that JC has. Whenever the form curves, put those to indicate the form of the figure or the form of the object. Pen, you can't be mad at a regular schmegular pen tool. Pencil, it feels like it's the same, but the pencil does have a tad bit of a texture. Rake, Alberto loves his rake. That whole team of how Alberto Mielgo just influenced, just inspired a generation of artists. They love that rake, flat look. I'm all for it. I really love that style. Screensaver. Okay, interesting. So every brushstroke is just like this randomized screensaver. That'd be a challenge to paint because it keeps changing colors. How do you say that? Surat? Surat?
Sera.
Ooh, that's beautiful. It just blends it. This is fun. Art's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be therapeutic. I just hate those sketchbooks where every page is just like a perfectly rendered illustration. We all know that you browse Pinterest. You found that image interesting and you wanted to put it on your sketchbook. But my point is, you're free to do that, but there's a better way. If only you put something personal and that meant something. I still believe sketchbooks are something so intimate, and practicing having a sketchbook, a true sketchbook, not IG feed where everything is trying to be perfect. That was my biggest pet peeve in art school, and I'm still not over it. Sue me, but I still feel like a sketchbook is a pure, blissful expression of your thoughts, and you just let things flow out of you and you just pretty much vomit. And when you become friends with another artist, or you feel someone's trying to court someone, or you find someone interesting that you want to share that part of your life to them, when they get a hold of that work and when they go through that, it's more intimate. It's so much better because they get a glimpse of you, a true glimpse of you. Art is more about you and people trying to learn more about you rather than a pretty image. Short sketchbook tangent, but that's how I feel about sketchbooks. And there's nothing wrong, once again, nothing wrong with having a set style that every page is perfect. Just limiting. The spray tool is interesting, but my favorite would be the Surat. Maybe it references an artist and I'm not too smart enough to know right now, but yeah. A squeegee. Two-finger swipe on canvas to squeegee. Pinch outside canvas to zoom. Well, I think I can't do that. Stars. Ooh, a little lag there. Swirly blur. Ooh, I like that. This I like. Probably use this to blend. Text brush. Can we change the text? You do have a settings option within the tool. And yeah, you can change the font. You can click it at random, and you can even, oh, you do have the old school S. Who knows this old school S? Am I Unk? Oh yeah, am I getting Unk age and people don't know this? I'm pretty sure people know this now, but you know. Water drop. Okay, interesting. You can even resize the canvas. So let me resize the canvas. Okay, now for the subject that we want to paint. I have a picture of this set actress. And this set actress, her name is Tabu. She's one of the goats. If you know, you know. It's not like I had a crush on her. You know, I like her. She seems interesting. She has an amazing face. If she just you look at her face, you look at her body of work, she's so talented. It's just ridiculous. I feel like she's so underappreciated, and I feel like she's just like I just love her. Let's start. I would start this with the brush, sort of use burnt sienna. I'm sorry if I sort of zone out during the painting process because I just zone out. Hopefully there'll be a voiceover to sort of overlays and sort of explains a bit of my process and what I'm seeing, what kind of shapes I'm seeing. I put that drastic swoop of a shape, and I don't know if you can see, I'm just trying to align these lines together so that the proportions are right. It's like a cheat. Even though I said burnt sienna and I wanted to sort of underpainting, but I still introduced color from a very early stage and maybe even random colors so that my eyes are a bit open to exploring new lighting temperatures. It's lit by the sun and it's bright outside and it's quite super blue. Maybe you want a much more warmer lighting situation. For now, I'm just finding the shapes, squinting my eye a little bit to see where I need to be placing some of these. Head cheese. I think the head cheese was pretty interesting. Don't forget to stay hydrated, guys. I say that I didn't have a lick of water today, which is ridiculous. I'll still limit the painting for like a 45-minute mark because if you let me, I'm gonna be here for a while and we don't want that. The video is gonna be too long. And another tip, this is from Pinterest. So I just opened the image on a new window. You can still control and scroll to make it bigger or small, right? So what I do is I make it tiny so that it's easier to read and it's easier to get the proportions and shapes right. Use a bigger brush and just go ahead. Put the right colors in. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't know how I look while painting because I can't see OBS because I have just one monitor. If I look crazy, my apologies. I'm still figuring out which brush I like the most. You still kind of like are still used to your old tools and there's still this resistance. Like change is fun. Change is the only thing that's constant, and the day you embrace change, it's liberating. This is how I paint. This is most of the work. The details are fun, but the initial phase is usually pretty meticulous. Guys, isn't it crazy that this is all a website? I'm still not over that. Try to club the shadow shapes so that's an easier read. And I know it's always tempting to add more shapes, but less is more. Like I really like how the photos framed. I'm not sure which movie this is from. What I found intriguing and challenging is the fact that I need to paint jewelry without getting too bogged down by the details, but just implying. So a quick tip on what kind of shapes I'm looking at or how I look at the image and break it down into quite rudimentary forms. It doesn't necessarily have to be a circle, or it could be like arches or curves or whatever. Anything that helps you read the image, essentially. As you can see in this image, this is overarching veil that's on her head. Keep it simple, squint your eye. The less shapes you have, the more readable the image is. So try to club as many shapes you can. Hope that helps. Okay, a little breather. We're in a good place, but you know, things can always be better. But I really like where the image is leading me. And don't be worried if you're in a position where the color seems a bit muddy. That is always fixable. So just make sure you get the values and other stuff right. We'll get the temperature right. Another tip, I find it easy to take any image, drop it in Photoshop, sort of make two sizes and slap on a posterize filter or play with the threshold and try to get two values, light and dark. This pretty much just helps with visualizing or seeing how to club the shapes and how the shadows are just one huge overarching shape. It's just for you to help you read the image a bit better. Okay, bye. By the way, I use a pen tablet as everyone should, and I don't use a screen tablet. I just use the classic no display tablet. For some reason, I just find it super difficult to just draw because like I think my hand gets in the way and it just gets so distracted. And I did have a Cintiq at one point. A lot of stories with that Cintiq, honestly. And now I should have traded the Cintiq for the Intuos. Like they had an Intuos, and now I have their tablet and they have my old Cintiq. Interesting. That tablet went so many places. It came from a certain place, and now it's with the. It's just interesting. Interesting tablet. Wonder how it's doing right now. Y'all ever had a story with the Cintiq or pen tablet? Well, it's officially tea time, and I'll grab myself a cup of tea, and I'll be back. Are you recording me? Beep boop bop beep beep. Back with the tea, and let's get back to painting. So here are my final thoughts. Maybe I spent a little bit too much time on this piece, but I couldn't help but push myself and see how much I can squeeze out of the site. Even though Photoshop feels like home to me, I've been experimenting and pushing myself and trying out new softwares like ArtRage or Blender or HeavyPaint to see where it takes me creatively. I feel like we shouldn't be controlled by a set tool and be married to it forever. But I'm not gonna lie, no matter how much I wander off, Photoshop's always home. So if there's one thing to take away, it's this: don't hold back. Push your ideas, maximize the fun every single time you open a canvas. Because every piece teaches you something, and the only wrong move is not painting at all. Okay, bye.